There's a block on my calendar once a week where I sit down with my own business like a newspaper somebody else wrote. Coffee, laptop, about 20 minutes, articles that published on my blog while I was living an ordinary full week. Podcast episodes that went out in 4 languages I don't speak. Speaking pitches drafted and sitting in a queue, waiting on nothing but my yes. Page after page of work I did not do. And here's the strange part. The part that took me the longest to get used to. Every page still sounds like me. I want to walk you up the org chart of a business like that because the interesting part is not that software did some tasks. Plenty of software does tasks. The interesting part is that this business has departments and job descriptions and onboarding and performance reviews and exactly one human anywhere on it. And getting there was not a technical skill. It was a management skill, which means it's learnable by you without an engineering degree. And I'll show you the shape of it so you can start turning the tasks eating your week into something that hands you back more money, more time, and more options. Whether you're a consultant who's become the bottleneck in your own pipeline, a therapist with a wait list you can't touch, or a fractional exec doing 4 companies' work with 0 support. This is the structure underneath all of it. Settle in. I'm Makeda Bohm. I've closed nearly $10 million in tech sales over 4 years. Earned 7 figures doing it. And here I teach service-based business owners how to use AI, automations, systems, and agents to create more money, time, and options. AI is moving at the speed of daily, and I help you keep up. Here's the reframe I need you to hear, because you've probably been blaming yourself for a ceiling that was never about you. You were handed exactly 2 ways to grow a service business, work more hours, or hire people. That's it. That was the whole menu. So when you maxed your hours and couldn't stomach payroll, you concluded you'd hit your limit. You didn't. You hit the limit of headcount math, a formula written for a world where labor only came in one form: a salary, benefits, management overhead, and risk. All or nothing. That world ended. There's a third structure now. And the owners quietly using it aren't more disciplined than you. They're just running newer math. Let me be fair to the old menu first, because the truth always holds nuance. Hiring works. It built every big company you can name. But for a solo service owner, the honest math is brutal. You're signing up for payroll taxes, benefits, compliance, and the management load of a human being's livelihood, usually before you've ever paid yourself consistently. Freelancers work too, genuinely, for projects with a start and an end, a launch, a rebrand, a build. Where they break is the work that never ends. The publishing and following up and staying visible, week after week, forever. And the third option, staying small on purpose. Sometimes that's wisdom, but a lot of the time it's a ceiling wearing the word balance, and you know the difference in your gut. So here's the third structure, and I'm going to describe it the way I'd describe any org chart, because that's genuinely what it is. My content department is a blog employee. Its job description is 1 sentence. The blog stays published, multiple articles a day, every day in my voice, whether I remember it exists or not. My media department is a podcast producer. It takes 1 script and delivers this show in 5 languages for less than what lunch costs me. My growth department is a speaker booking agent. Its first working batch drafted 107 personalized pitches to real stages in minutes, each one specific to the room. And sitting across all of it is a chief of staff that keeps the calendar of what runs when, so the noticing doesn't live in my head. None of them get tired. None of them need me to remember to ask. Each one owns an outcome continuously the exact way a good department does. And my job? I'm the one human on the chart. And I finally do the only job that ever actually required me. I set direction. I make the judgment calls. I hold the standards. I have an MBA in organizational management. And I promise you, I use more of it now than I ever did before, because it turns out managing a workforce that isn't human is still management. Job descriptions still matter. They're just called outcomes. Onboarding still matters more than anything. And I mean that literally, because an AI employee that doesn't deeply know your business can't own an outcome. It can only guess at one. That onboarding is what I call context training. Teaching your AI your actual business before you hand it a job. And it's the floor this entire structure stands on. And performance review still matters. That's my 20 minutes with the newspaper. If you're already wondering which department your business would build first, that's not a thing to guess at. The free AI employee report at audit.seedandsociety.com will tell you. 11 questions, about 3 minutes, and it names the one AI employee to build first based on where you're actually losing money, time, or options. It's free. Take it before the end of the day, and the rest of this episode gets personal fast. Now, picture who this actually unlocks. Because it is not Silicon Valley, it's the therapist in Chattanooga whose practice is full, adding a content department instead of a second location. It's the consultant in Accra, running a growth department that pitches while she delivers. It's the fractional CFO in Kuala Lumpur whose follow-up finally doesn't depend on the worst 2 hours of his week. It's the coach in Kingston publishing daily in 2 languages she doesn't speak. Same structure, wildly different businesses, and not one of them asked anyone's permission or raised $1 to build a team. And now, the part I refuse to skip, because it's the difference between what I teach and the hype you're rightly suspicious of. A digital workforce did not remove me from my business. It removed the grind from my business. Those are different things. The judgment calls are still mine. The relationships are still mine. When a client needs a human heart, they get mine. And that line doesn't move ever. What moved is everything that never needed a heart in the first place. The publishing, the drafting, the formatting, the remembering. And it wasn't magic on day one. Every employee on my chart works because it was onboarded on my actual business first. And because I corrected it properly in its foundation until it earned the outcome it owns. Anyone who tells you this happens in an afternoon is selling you the demo, not the department. Here's where I want to leave you. For your whole working life, an org chart was a thing you earned the right to have. Capital first, payroll first, risk first. And if you couldn't front that, you stayed a one-person show forever, no matter how good you were. That gate is gone. The org chart got unbundled from the payroll, and a solo owner in any city I just named can now run departments. That's not a productivity hack. That's access changing hands. And it's the exact reason I do this show. That's more money because departments produce while you deliver instead of production stopping every time your calendar fills. That's more time because the noticing, the remembering, and the grinding move off of you in your part shrinks to 20 minutes with a newspaper that writes itself, and that's more options. Because when adding capacity stops being a payroll decision, You get to design the business around your life instead of auctioning your life to the business. Sign up for the newsletter at seedandsociety.com newsletter. Send this one to a specific person, the friend who's been doing every single job in her business alone and thinks, that's just what ownership costs. It isn't. Not anymore. And if this episode showed you a ceiling that was never actually yours, leave a review and say so. It helps this free education reach more people. Until next time, continue planting the seeds for a better society.